Hello, everyone. How's it going? I've got my headset on today. Yesterday, I completely lost my voice. I was talking like this for a while. And now I'm able to talk a little bit better, but I'm really just kind of trying to conserve my voice. And so if I have the headset on, it makes it a little bit easier to do. So hello to everyone. For those of you who have never been to one of my live things that I do, just to kind of explain the concepts that are going on, I'll interrupt myself for a question. No, it's not a cold, it's more just that I talk all day long. And so occasionally my voice just goes out on me. But basically, what we do in these question and answer sessions are to answer general questions about astrology. I'm not here to interpret your astrological chart for you. There are lots of different reasons why. Number one, I do what I do professionally. It's what I do to feed my family and things like that. So that's a number one reason. Number two, in addition to that, most people are giving me like 1, 2, 3 planetary combinations in their Rashi chart. And that's not really enough to make an accurate interpretation, especially in the manner that people generally tend to ask me for, like for the entirety of some dasha period. And so you can't really do astrology that way. As a matter of fact, one thing that I really want to get into astrologically is that there are these concepts that people have, like, I think earlier today I got an email from someone who was wanting to know about what each different Saturn return would bring, because they had heard that the first one would be the hardest, second one could bring rewards, or something like that. And really, everything is very dasha specific in regards to that. In addition to that, there are very few things like planetary permutations that work straight across the board, producing the same results every single time, because each person's horoscope is very unique. And all the different Varga charts, the divisional charts, have to be taken into consideration. And astrology is very holistic. It's not as simple as like, here's 1, 2, or 3 planets, and they're going to create the same thing every time. It doesn't really happen that way. So it's important to understand that astrology is varied. So why then have planetary permutations like yogas and have people talk about them? Well, they're good because they get your mind thinking in certain directions, and they're like snapshot techniques that give you an idea that something might be there. But then you have to go and you have to check further to see if that something that might be there is actually there, right? And that's why I'm never wild about giving, saying this planet here and there produces everything every single time. It just seldom works like that. Some exceptions I have seen that are pretty accurate in that regard are the planetary permutations given in Jaimini astrology. They tend to be very accurate in terms of the things that they produce. I'm presently teaching a Jaimini course. I'm actually closing down registration on that after this Saturday, but if anybody's interested in joining, you still can. And you can catch up with the first couple of classes to get up to where the rest of the class is. You can do that through my website on the courses link. Okay, let's see what we have here. Okay, let's see what questions people are asking. There are two different, somebody's asking a question about karakas. Okay, there are 2 different karaka schemes in Jaimini astrology. There's the 7 karaka scheme, and there is the 8 karaka scheme. Okay, Jaimini gives both. So both are to be used, but it's kind of questionable as to why. But there are certain techniques that you begin to find later on in Jaimini astrology that you need the extra karaka for, such as predicting number of children, For Jayamini's technique on number of children, you need to have basically 3 potential putra karakas. You need to have Jupiter, which is the natural putra karaka, and the putra karaka that's indicated as per Jayamini astrology in the 7th and 8th karaka scheme. But with that being the case, there's a difference in which to use as the 8th karaka. And a lot of people tend to resort to using Rahu, which in my opinion is inaccurate. And with the system that I work with is inaccurate. That's listed in Brihat Parashara Horus Shastra, but a lot of people believe, a lot of astrologers believe that the Jayamini concepts that we have in Brihat Parashara Horus Shastra are corrupted and were something that was added later on and was not really something that was conveyed by Parashara. But something that does have a precedence, and Jayamini actually alludes to later on in the text, is using the ascendant as the 8th karaka. That actually works really well. Okay, so that's the answer to that. So by the way, before I get into anything else, I wanted to mention to people that I'm giving a very special offer to viewers only. So to people who are seeing this video, if you're watching this live video, either watching it live or watching it later on in the day, until tomorrow night, the 30th of August at 10 p.m. London time, and please, you can find out what time that is in your time zone online, I'm offering a 10% discount on all astrological services. This is just a special offer to viewers of my YouTube videos, and especially this particular YouTube video. And if you want to take advantage of that discount, when you're on the payment page after you've scheduled your astrological service, you need to enter the discount code viewers. I'm going to type it into the chat box here, just in case people are confused. So viewers, all uppercase letters, if you want to take advantage of the 10% discount code until 10 p.m. tomorrow night, London time. Okay, let's see what else we've got here. Okay, so somebody's asking a question. And I know I keep repeating myself over and over again, but it is really necessary because I think people really need to have a good understanding of this. So somebody's saying, can I briefly talk about transiting Rahu conjunct natal Ketu in 10th house, overall expectation, is it good or bad? Well, everything that's happening in your chart is good because it's there to serve your evolution. Is it difficult or does it create a state of ease? Well, Rahu and Ketu are generally cruel planets, so they're going to create some tension. How that serves you in the long run, if that's positive or negative, well, that's dependent upon your horoscope and the particular dashas that you're in. Okay, so you can't really just say this transit creates this bad thing for you. It doesn't really work like that. Okay. Somebody's saying, do the nodes afflict the planets? By the way, hello, Tana. Good to see you here. If they are conjunct. So if the nodes are conjunct a planet, do they afflict the planet? Are there any positive results in such combinations? Well, when Rahu and Ketu's dispositors, well, especially Rahu is more of a troublemaker than Ketu, but Ketu is also a troublemaker on some levels too, even though it's the planet of liberation. So let's go into that. So Rahu, when its dispositor is in a dignity that's less than being in its own house, or being Mula Trikona, or being exalted, then Rahu creates separation from those things that it conjuncts in the horoscope, and the houses that that planet it conjuncts rules. I think it even does so to a very, very mild degree, very slightly. It can bring some tension in those areas when the planet's in its own house, exalted, Mula Trikona. But in addition to creating some separation from the planet that it's there with, Rahu also has an agenda that's related to the planet that it conjuncts. Okay. To the house that it's in the Varga chart, to the position that it's in from specific karakas. And if the dispositor of Rahu is strong, and what I mean by that, and some of you don't know this concept, which means if the dispositor of Rahu has strong Baladi avastas, strong Jagradati avastas, and is in, is a good, strong, robust planet, then Rahu can create the indications of that thing, but it does so in a very unexpected manner as per Rahu. Okay, K2 as well can, with the same basic concepts, bring, if it's conjuncting another planet, K2 is not really going to necessarily create separation. It's more the pull of Rahu that's creating the separation, right? But what K2 does when it's conjuncting a planet is it can bring some hints of that planet into being. But so, for instance, if K2 is conjuncting a relationship planet, if the relationship planet is strong enough, it can bring a relationship into the person's life, but it's a very karmic relationship. And then after the karma is resolved, the relationship may dissolve, okay, because that's the way K2 works, right? So there are some positive results that come from Rahu and Ketu. On some levels, they can create things. And then there's the positive result overall that happens from Rahu and Ketu, which is they're there for your evolution, right? And so that's always positive. But, we kind of need to get out of the realm of thinking purely in concrete things that we're going to get and have in our life. And I know those things are important to us all. They're important to me as well. But Rahu and Ketu serve a purpose. They serve an evolutionary purpose. And that purpose is important to understand. Okay? And I could go, I could talk the entire time that I'm here about Rahu and Ketu. Okay, let's see what else we've got here. Okay, Somali, I don't necessarily understand your question. And there are so many different rules as per Jaimini astrology and different systems as per Jaimini astrology. Is there any connection between Vimshotri Dasha and Chara Dasha? Well, no, they're two separate things. So like Vimshotri Dasha running in the 12th house and Chatra Dasha in the 5th house. I'm not sure if I'm really following your question. Okay. So, basically those are two different systems. Let's kind of explain this. Jaimini's system is very different than Vimshotri Dasha, but interestingly enough, Jaimini concepts, right? Like if you're dealing with a Jaimini technique to show a concrete thing, Vimshotri Dasha, if it's relating to those planets that are involved, can also create the same thing. So you can do some Jaimini concepts with Vimshotri Dasha, right? Some of those things are able to go back and forth, but they're two different systems in terms of Rashi Dashas and planetary dashas. Rashi dasha is connected with the sun, which is the Atman, shows the concrete things that happen, concrete things that the soul experiences. Soul gets married, soul gets a job, soul does this. Whereas basically, pardon me, Vimshotri dasha, which is moon related because it's connected to the nakshatras, shows more of the subjective experience of that. So Rashi Dasha, soul gets married, right? Vimshotri Dasha, person hates their spouse. Those two things get put together, right? So those are two different things, but you can kind of put them together and they complement each other, okay? But they're completely different concepts, and they have to be treated as different concepts when you're learning them. Okay, so really, I highly recommend, sure, you can call this a sales point or whatever, but, really it also is very helpful for people who are trying to, learn Jaimini astrology and how to work with Jaimini and equally work with Vimshotri Dasha. I do have the Jaimini course going, so you can register for that. Okay, let's see what else we've got here. Okay. Somebody saying, I told about suppose one event in life in Vimshotri Dasha is running of Venus and the Gemini Dasha of Gemini starts. So I'm still not understanding your question because Venus is different than Gemini dasha. So I'm not really understanding. Are you saying that if they're both saying independent things, which is it going to be? Well, it's complementary. It's both of those things together. Okay, let's see what other questions we've got. Okay. So just a reminder again, if you want to take advantage at 10% discount on astrological services until 10 p.m. tomorrow night, London time, you can do so. There's a link up above in the page if you take a look. The discount code is viewers. I'm going to type that into the chat window for us while we're here. If I can type and talk at the same time. All uppercase letters. Okay. Well, so somebody's saying effects of 3 planets, Mars, Mercury, and Moon combust in 4th house, Pisces ascendant. Well, a lot of that depends on what those planets rule, because those combust planets are going to impact their houses, right? Okay. How can you see a successful career from the birth chart or the D10? Well, first of all, let's talk about this concept of success. What is success? Is success prominence, getting a lot of recognition, having a lot of power? Is success having a lot of money, right? Is success feeling fulfilled with what you're doing? Success means so many different things to different people, okay? The Shamsha chart can only show success in something. It's not necessarily work-oriented. The Shamsha chart shows the great fruits in life, what we're successful with. So it can show career success, but career success does not translate into financial success. Okay, you can get a lot of recognition for your career. You can have a lot of people noticing you, and you can have no money in the bank, right? Okay. Equally, you can have a lot of money to take care of your bills, but you don't have a home, right? Or you can have a home, but you can barely pay your bills, right? So, or you can be the most successful person on the face of earth, but you don't feel like your life has any purpose. So, what does success mean? Okay. So we have to really take that into consideration. Constructive things in life, well, that's a very subjective concept too. What are the constructive things in life? What are constructive things in life? So I'm not trying to be difficult, but you really have to take all these different things into consideration, because if you're asking a question, the type of answer that you're going to get is going to be based upon the things that you're asking, right? So a successful career means different things to different people. If you're talking about how that's going to translate financially, well, you need to look at the Hora chart and the Chaturtamsha chart. You don't really need to necessarily look at the Dashamsha chart for that. Okay. Okay, well, combust planets never give results. No, combust planets give results that feel somewhat incompatible to us. I like to kind of explain combust planets of, imagine that you've kind of got an allergy to something, right? So imagine you have an allergy to relationships, or imagine you have an allergy to your career, right? So basically, combust planets, from our perspective on Earth, so here's the Earth, one small ball, here's the sun, one huge ball, and here's the planet that's combust. That planet that's combust is behind the sun. Its rays can't get to the Earth. And so we have a hard time connecting to that thing. So there's an incompatibility between the area of life that planet rules. Okay. So let's see if there is a possibility repeated in D1, D60, and D9 always achieves or not. I don't understand that question. Can you clarify your question, and I'll try to see if I can find it. Okay. So following up to first question, let's consider Moon Atmakaraka sitting with Rahu 7 degrees, second highest, if not taking other second highest degree planet other than Rahu. If you're asking me if I consider Rahu one of the Jaimini Charakaras, no, I don't. Okay? Rahu and Ketu are not embodied planets. Jaimini is pretty clear in his text if you take it directly in regards to these things. I don't have that bit of text right in front of me, otherwise I would, bring it into the surface. You can email me though if you want to. Send me an email and I'll send you, from the version of the text that I have, the bit on those things. Okay? Let's see what else we've got. So that was to you, Samir. So you can email me and I'll send you that information. If there is a clue in D1, D60, and D9 always achieves, are you trying to say if the same thing is indicated in the D1, the D60, and the D9, then that thing will definitely happen? Is that your question? If that is your question, the answer to that is no, because if the relevant Varga for the event is not also indicating it, then it may not happen. Because basically D60 is used for confirmation, D1 shows the life path, Navamsha chart shows the meaning of that. Navamsha chart shows the meaning of those things. Is this purposeful? Am I finding meaning from that, right? So, just to kind of give you an idea in terms of how that works, you can have a planet in the Rashi chart that is indicating, that's weak in terms of relationship potential. But then you look at the relationship charts like the Saptamsha and the Navamsha, and you have strong relationship indicators. So what does that mean? Well, that means that there's a potential for the relationship to come into being. If it's the Navamsha chart, the individual finds that meaningful. But in the Rashi chart, it affects their overall life path towards them becoming themselves in an adverse way. Okay? So different charts are for different reasons. And so, of course, it's good to have a planet in the Rashi chart that's indicative of whatever you're looking for the answer to, and a planet in the respective Varga chart for the event that's also indicating it, because those are the more meaningful things in life. But you can have things happening in the Varga charts that don't happen that aren't really showing in the Rashi charts, or are showing difficult indications in the Rashi chart. So best things happen when both are showing strength, but at the same time, they don't always have to show that for certain events to happen. Okay, I think that might be what you're asking. If the D60 is the ceiling, then why do we need to see the other charts? Here is why you need to see the other charts. Because if the other charts are showing that something is not going to happen, so for instance, let's say your Hora chart is showing you're going to have a difficult time financially. Well, you're still going to have a difficult time financially. But if that planet is indicating the same thing in the Shastiyamsha chart and it's stronger, then that difficult time that you have is not going to be as bad. But if that planet is in the Shastiyamsha chart and it's weak, then the difficult time is going to be more difficult. Okay, that's the concept. All right. So just a brief reminder, if you would like to take advantage of the 10% discount on all astrological services, that is available until 10 p.m. London time on the 30th of August. There's a link up above in the video where you see the little I. That will have the discount code. Just to say it, all uppercase letters viewers, okay, meaning those of you who are here, but I'll type it in the chat window too. You enter that code on the payment page after you've scheduled your service. Okay. Okay, so let's see some of the questions here. A lot of these J-Mini questions that people are asking, there are so many different opinions and different outlooks on J-Mini. Really, and so it's mainly because Jaimini sutras are written in code and they're very difficult to understand, and different people have translated it differently. Okay, so yeah, it's so basically, yeah. All right. Anton, you're funny. But happy birthday. Okay. So I've got another 10 minutes, everybody, and then I have to leave because I'm out with family for the day. So what is the role of the ascendant nakshatra? Well, it shows how the individual, how their ascendant grows, because that's what nakshatras do. They show how we grow certain things, right? How are you growing your perspective on the world? Because the first house is your perspective on the world. It's the eastern horizon. It's how you're seeing things, right? So that's how you're growing your perspective on the world, right? Moon nakshatra is how you're growing your understanding, your subjective understanding of the world. How is your consciousness growing? How are your feelings growing? How are your needs growing? Right? So two different concepts. Okay, but it's not so much that they have probably role isn't the best term. It's just that they're different planets and different things, right? Just like, it's kind of like asking, it's not a bad question. I know you're just trying to get some clarity on it. It's kind of like asking, what's the difference between the moon's nakshatra and Rahu's nakshatra, right? They're just two different things. So understand what the ascendant is, right? The ascendant is going to tend to show more of the concrete things, right? Whereas the moon is going to show more of the subjective things. They're two different concepts. Okay. Yes, and I think Samir is right in this concept, Somali. Basically, that even though planets can be enemies of each other, they can still create Raja Yogas. They can still complement each other. Okay. Let's see what else we've got. Okay. Anybody with any other questions? And I'm seeing there are some further up in the chat window. So just a reminder, 10% discount astrological services until tomorrow at 10 p.m. Discount code is above. Okay. Let's see what we've got. Let's see some other questions here. Please feel free to ask your questions. So here's the thing. I'm not going to look at your astrological chart here on YouTube. I'm sorry. I don't do that for people. It's because, number one, it's kind of exhibiting your chart in front of everybody, which isn't really the best thing. I'm a strong believer people need to kind of keep their astrological charts between themselves and their astrologer, and between themselves and those people that they really trust. So that's probably a better thing to do. In addition to that, I don't just look at your chart for 2 seconds and then tell you what you're going to do. It doesn't work that way. If you want to do like 50-50 astrology, you can do things like that. Other than that, it's good to really spend some time with the horoscope. And if I looked at your chart that you entered here and then basically went into all of that and really gave you an accurate assessment, everybody would be sitting here on YouTube looking at me staring down at a piece of paper. So it's probably not the best thing to do here. Okay. But you can ask general astrological questions. Those are most welcome here. Okay. Well, so basically, somebody's asking, Moon in Aquarius opposite Venus in Leo. What does it indicate? Is it a bad yoga aspect? Right. Well, so when we look at that, so first of all, nothing is bad. Let's, I know people mean challenging, right? But let's not kind of just go, is it bad? Because nothing's bad. Everything that is in your life is for a reason, and it's there for you to grow from. But when there's an aspect between the moon and Venus, it creates something called starved. It starves the planet, right? Moon and Venus are enemies, basically. Venus considers the moon an enemy is the best way to say that. And the moon is neutral to everybody. So basically, it's going to be difficult for the indications of Venus because that moon is starving Venus. Okay, so how does that translate into the individual's life? Well, how you are subjectively understanding things, how you're seeing things is on one level kind of keeping you from making conscious decisions about those areas of your life that Venus rules. Okay, that's how starvation affects things. You consider the planet that's starting the other planet, and that's what tends to be created from that. Okay. Now, I probably won't make Jupiter transit videos for different signs because really that's just too, um, I'm going to say it's too time consuming, really. That's why I do a general one for everybody. Okay. What would be the one takeaway that those of us who are looking to provide astrology as a service in the future would be mindful of knowing? Um, that I think, and something I repeat over and over again, that astrology works better as a tool for self-understanding, right? With that, you're hardly ever going to go wrong with astrology. If you're using astrology merely for prediction, if that's all you're using astrology for, then you're going to find that there's always going to be a certain level of inaccuracy. Always. There will always be that. No astrologer can be 100% accurate 100% of the time. Okay, the best astrologers are 100% accurate 70 to 80% of the time. So which do you want to bank on? Self-understanding or just prediction? Now, I do prediction, right? And I think prediction serves a place. It helps to remove a lot of the anxiety for an individual so you can get beneath the surface and go into the deeper stuff that's there. But always approach astrology from the perspective of, even if you're looking at something predictively, if you're looking for a prediction, also look at the why. Don't just ask what's going to happen, ask what's going to happen and why is this happening and what can I learn from it. Those are the best ways to get things from astrology and the best way to give people through astrology. Okay. Okay. Let's see what else we've got here. Okay, planetary dignity determines, unless you're looking at it from a Jaimini perspective, and even if you're looking at it from a Jaimini perspective, it takes this added function. It shows how the individual feels as they're going about the responsibilities of that planet. In Jaimini astrology, it just works with planetary dignity, so that will indicate whether something's going to, come into being or not. So it's not just if a planet is good in the D10, it's what that planet's ruling in the D10. And equally what that planet's ruling in the Rashi chart, because the Rashi and the D10 in terms of career both have to be taken into consideration because your career is associated with your life path. But if you want to know money, then that's a different thing. Money is the Hora chart and the Chatratamsha chart. So people get success confused, discombobulated, and turned upside down. And success means so many different things to so many different people, just as when people come to an astrologer and they go, I want to know my destiny. Destiny means many different things to many different people. Okay, sadly, people, I am going to have to go because I have to do something with family. Maybe I'll do a book on Rahu and Ketu insights in the future. I definitely have a course on it. If you want to email me, I can basically tell you how to purchase that course. It's just a video course. In addition to that, 10% discount on all astrological services until tomorrow night, the 30th of August, 10 p.m. London time. Discount code, all uppercase letters, viewers. I would stick around longer, but I got to go for family. Okay. Take care, people. Until next time. And please do take the very best care of yourself. Bye now.